touchdown, Alabama, let's get it.
The process, no one can stop this. Hottest show in the streets, I bet you can't top this. Rammer, jammer, yellow hammer, come see how we rock this. Alabama fans the best, there's no way you can top this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
The process.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome into Thursday's episode of The Process. Thank you guys so much for joining me on today's episode to close out this week of shows. I am your host, Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine. If you're not subscribed, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Also, be sure to leave a like whether you are subscribed or not. On today's episode, I want to discuss the NCAA looking at the possibility of extending the current recruiting dead period from April 15th through May 31st. It looks as if they will add another month to that recruiting dead period. And with that dead period in place, the D1 coaches are not allowed to have any in-person contact with recruits. So I want to discuss how this will continue to impact the Crimson Tide recruiting their lone remaining 2021 target, and also discuss how this will continue to impact the Tide's 2022 recruiting efforts as well. Plenty of recruiting updates are coming to touchdowналabama.com over the next couple of days, as I will travel to Alabaster, Alabama on Saturday to check out the Southern Express 5th Annual Border War 707 tournament, where several Tide targets will be in action along with some of the top athletes in the country. So we will have plenty of updates from that event. So stay tuned to touchdowналabama.com throughout the weekend. And on today's episode, we're just going to dive right into the discussion of the NCAA extending the recruiting dead period possibly through May 31st. So with that being said, let's get the process started. With the NCAA looking at possibly extending the current recruiting dead period through May 31st, I know Alabama fans immediately turned their attention to 2021 five-star defensive end JT Tuimoloau out of Washington, because he has yet to sign a national letter of intent. He chose not to because he wants to wait till he has an opportunity to take a visit where he can talk with coaches in person. Under the current recruiting restrictions, you are not able to have any in-person contact between D1 coaches and prospects. It was a possibility that JT could take some visits during the spring if the NCAA lifted the current recruiting dead period on or after April 15th, but it looks as if they are looking at the possibility of extending it through May 31st, which basically throws out JT taking visits in the spring. He could have an opportunity to do so in the summer, but that will be cutting it really close when it comes to guys enrolling in the summer. So it will be interesting to see how this impacts JT's recruiting plans. Of course, he has always had the opportunity to take visits but not talk to coaches. He can talk to current players. He still has that opportunity. I think something that is going to work in Alabama's favor if they do extend this current recruiting dead period is the fact that they have hosted him in the past. Of course, recruits like to get out and visit campuses multiple times, especially if it has been a long time since you visited that campus because you want to refresh everything. And I'm pretty sure JT wants to do that when it comes to the University of Alabama, especially with the developments and the way that they continue to expand on their facilities. So I'm pretty sure that's something that JT wants to take in. But I think that is something that could work in Alabama's favor is the fact that he has been in Tuscaloosa before. It's not totally foreign to him, so we will just have to wait to see what JT's decision will be. At this point in the 2021 recruiting cycle, he has an opportunity to sign at any point in time. He can sign right now. He can sign at 3 o'clock in the morning because he can sign a national letter of intent at any time at this point in the 2021 recruiting cycle. But looking at the 2022 recruiting class, this is going to continue to have a huge impact because these guys desperately want to get on campus. There's a lot of guys who hold Alabama offers who have never visited the University of Alabama. Going back to Jake Pope taking a visit to the university over the weekend, that was the first time he ever saw campus, and I'm pretty sure it is a large group of guys here in this 2022 recruiting class who have not stepped on the campuses where they got offers from. So I'm pretty sure they are itching to get on those campuses. They seem pretty upset on Twitter when news broke that the NCAA was looking at the possibility of extending the current recruiting dead period through May 31st. But this also hurts evaluations when it comes to coaches, because nothing beats in-person contact in terms of watching that player in person. I know it is a saying that film doesn't lie, but nothing beats seeing a prospect in person, especially when you get them in a camp setting. You get a chance to test them and you get a chance to see them going through those tests in person. A good thing about the current state of the high school camp circuit is the fact that multiple camps are going to continue to push through here during this current spring and summer. During last year, a lot of camp circuits, a lot of 707 circuits canceled due to concerns over the spread of COVID-19. But a lot of those programs and a lot of those organizations are pushing through it, wearing masks at these events, and continue to try to get some of the top prospects in the country exposure. So we're going to see a lot of camps happening, a lot of 707s happening. For example, the Southern Express Border War 707 tournament, which will happen on this weekend. Also looking at the Under Armour camps are starting to pick up again. And those organizations do work with D1 coaches, so they will have an opportunity to see times and videos, see prospects, at least in video, see them testing out in the 40-yard dash and vertical jump and a lot of different tests. So they will have an opportunity to do that, and I think that will help them out during this uncertain time when it comes to the recruiting trail. And we will see what the NCAA will do. If they will make it official, will they make it official that they will extend the recruiting dead period through May 31st? Will they possibly cut it off on April 15th? That is still a possibility, but it looks as if they are looking at extending it through May 31st at this point. We'll see if they cut it off at May 31st. It'll be interesting to see how this continues to impact each recruiting class. But that is what I wanted to talk about on today's episode of The Process. That's it for this episode of The Process. Be sure to hit that subscribe button before you leave. Also, be sure to leave a like whether you are subscribed or not. Then head over to touchdownalabama.com. Pick up your subscription today. With that subscription, you will be able to read all of our subscriber-only articles. Get your hands on our yearly print magazine issue. The next issue is in the works, so you'll have an opportunity to get your hands on that new issue pretty soon. Also, get an opportunity to read our in-depth scouting reports on each Tide commit in each recruiting class. As always, I am Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine.
Process.